Well, good morning, everyone. Great to be at the Queensland Government Air Wing here at Archerfield with some leaders in policing and also some friends of community safety, particularly Surf Life Saving Queensland. But I'll introduce them shortly. Before we start today, I just wanted to say a few things about the return of international flights to Queensland. It is great that international flights are returning to Queensland. This is another move forward for our state as we all work together to put COVID into the rear-view mirror. Before COVID, international holidaymakers spent around $5.5 billion in Queensland each year. The return of international students alone could contribute up to $1.6 billion to the Queensland economy. But we do know that some of those markets and some of those countries where we will welcome tourists from just aren't as open as Queensland yet, places like China and also New Zealand. So we need to get out there and tell the world that Queensland is open and we are more than ready to welcome visitors back to our state. Queensland is raring to go, and we need to showcase Queensland to the world now, whether it be tourism or trade, because we know more tourists, more flights and more trade means more jobs for Queenslanders. We've always been a trading state and we always will be a trading state, so the more that we can help showcase Queensland businesses to the world will be better for our state. And I'm just so keen as Queensland's Trade Minister now to be able to get out to support those businesses and to help create markets and opportunities for those businesses around the globe. Today I'm very pleased to be joined by the Commissioner of the Queensland Police Service, Commissioner Katarina Carroll, the President of the Queensland Police Union and the co-founder of POLAIR, Ian Levers, and also one of our very valued and important partners in community safety in Queensland, Surf Life Saving Queensland, represented here today by Mr Dave Wimpey, the CEO. It's now more than a decade since the QPS POLAIR first took to the skies in Queensland, and for more than 10 years now those two aircraft have served policing and serve Queensland really well. But now the two helicopters that we operate are reaching the end of their effective operational life. With big and important equipment like this, you have to look to the future. With big equipment, with infrastructure and with services, we need to look to the future and plan for this future with the fastest growing state in Australia. That's why I'm pleased to announce today that 3 new Bell 429 helicopters will join the POLAIR fleet and will run in a new long-term contract to 2034. These are the eyes in the sky that will help protect Queenslanders through to the Olympics in 2032 and beyond. This is high-tech help from above to keep the streets safe below. As I say, we're going to be moving from 2 aircraft to 3 aircraft. That will be a 50% increase in the number of police choppers. Very importantly, in an Australian first, we will be establishing Australia's first Bell 429 simulator here in Queensland. Queensland's becoming the home of aviation training in this country. We've now helped Qantas relocate almost 50% of their flight simulators to Queensland. We've helped Ansett Aviation Training, the business that was left behind after Ansett closed. We've helped them relocate their flight simulators to Queensland. And now with this simulator and with 3 aircraft, it means we can keep more choppers in the sky for longer to assist with policing. The Bell 429 is a proven platform. It is used by the Royal Australian Navy and it's used by police services around the world, including New York, Sweden and New Zealand. To deliver this program, I'm very pleased to say that we will be extending our contract with Surf Life Saving Queensland to provide the aircraft, the pilots, the training and the servicing. Anyone who's driven past Metricon Stadium on the Gold Coast will have seen the POLAIR choppers on the tarmac right next door. But with this new agreement, we'll be moving the choppers to the Southport Aero Club, and that will improve operational capability for POLAIR and in particular will allow the choppers to get off the ground faster. In another Queensland first today, I'm also pleased to say that we will be increasing aerial surveillance and aerial operational capability for the Queensland Police Service in the north of our state. At the moment, police in Cairns and Townsville can call on QG Air's rescue helicopters when they need operational support. But the size of the metropolitan areas in Townsville and Cairns, the proximity of the airports, and in the case of Townsville, the increasing military flights that are happening in that community means police helicopters aren't as effective as they are in the southeast. So today we're announcing a Queensland first, a 12-month trial of advanced drones to assist with policing activity in Townsville and in Cairns. These aircraft will be equipped with forward-looking infrared cameras so police can record photos and videos and stream that to the ground as the drones fly. Effectively, these will be police choppers in the sky in Townsville and Cairns, piloted from the ground. So make no mistake, this investment in POLAIR, this investment in community safety will make a big difference to policing across Queensland and will help keep Queenslanders safe. I might now hand over to the Commissioner to say a few words, Ian Levers and also Dave Wimpey, and then happy to take some questions after that.
Good morning, everyone, and a welcome to you. I welcome this fantastic announcement and this investment into the QPS into the future. A 10-year contract, as you have heard, from July 2024 until after the Olympic period, right up until July 2034. 3 new Bell aircraft, 429s, replacing the existing 2, which is fantastic in itself. So 3 to replace 2, and obviously located here in Archerfield as well as the Gold Coast. They're modern, state-of-the-art. It will improve range, efficiency, safety and overall capability, and also reduce noise levels and much quieter in a more modern aircraft. The evaluation process was extremely complex, but we are extraordinarily confident that we have the best as a result. And as you've heard, nearly $1 million going towards the remote piloted aircraft for a trial in Townsville and Cairns. Some of the technology in this RPAS is just absolutely extraordinary, so I ask that you stay behind and have a look at that. And the first time ever, and I was just talking to the crew about this, 429 training simulator, which allows to do a lot of your training in the simulator on the ground as well as obviously in the air. So what do we see in the RPAS? It's state-of-the-art. What it does, it'll enhance our intelligence, our surveillance, our situational awareness, also track vehicles as well as thermal imaging to locate missing persons, not only for QPS but assist our partner agencies as well. It is our eyes in the sky, and we know from the evidence clearly it does improve community safety, but also it gives community the confidence in policing into the future. So once again, to government investment, a sincere thank you. I also want to thank Ian Levers, who has really driven this for the last 11 years, and I think he'll talk a little bit about the history, how far we've come and also how far we'll go into the future. A sincere thank you to our partners, Surf Lifesaving Queensland, and an amazing partnership over many years. Ultimately, we're here for the same reasons, the safety of our community. We have worked extraordinarily well together, and I'm pleased that we're working together into the future as well. Thank you.
Look, thank you, Commissioner, and also thank you to the Treasurer Cameron Dick for opening up the purse strings. This is really important. And I know the Police Minister would like to be here today, but he's not well. But also I thank the Police Minister for his support in certainly going into bat for us to be able to get the extra funding for the commitment that we've got today. It's really important to acknowledge the journey that we've been along. It was over 10 years ago. I did a deal with the former Mayor of the Gold Coast and we got this underway. But also to acknowledge there's a couple of my colleagues, you'll see the tactical flight officers around. There's a couple of guys to my left over here who were there right from the start, and I thank them for their support every step of the way. They're experts in their field and they've certainly been able to assist myself and others to get what we need today. The announcement today will give us the state-of-the-art resources to be able to do our job, and that is the eye in the sky, along with the other technology, to be able to serve the people of Queensland and ensure their safety and security. It will certainly assist the police on the ground, whether it be a search or looking for stolen vehicles or other crimes and other things that actually take place. They will certainly assist those on the ground, and that is really important. And our team, who are not only from the pilot but my colleagues from POLAIR, they do an amazing job. It is important to acknowledge the project team. I know Andrew Trenery, he's worked tirelessly with his team to be able to make this happen, and he must be very happy with what's been achieved and the announcement that we have today. I really look forward to the ongoing commitment, and what a great partnership with Surf Life Saving Queensland. You've got the blue and the red and the blue and white that is recognisable right over the country, but that certainly gives police the state-of-the-art equipment which is recognised, and it's all about safety. And it's all about looking after the people and serving the people of Queensland. So I thank everyone involved in the entire process. As the Commissioner said, it's been a long journey from when Queensland was one of the only jurisdictions in Australia that didn't have any helicopters, and now we've got 3 and they are state-of-the-art, so that is really good. So I thank everyone involved, and I thank the Minister and the Treasurer and the Government for funding this, because it was only just under 10 years ago when the funding for the helicopters was pulled and it had to come out of the existing budget. So it's really important, not only we've got the resources now, but it is properly funded, and I thank the Treasurer for that, because otherwise it's sort of a hollow promise. So I thank him for the additional funding, which goes a long way to ensuring that we have the hours and we have the helicopters in the air, having them doing the job that they're doing to assist the police on the ground and enhance community safety and protect the people of Queensland. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Wimpey, CEO, Surf Life Saving Queensland. To say that it's a very proud moment today for Surf Life Saving Queensland would be an understatement. Quite humbled and privileged to be here today. And on behalf of our 34,000 volunteers and 565 staff and board, I thank the Queensland Government and also the Treasurer and our Premier and the Commissioner in awarding of this contract. As the Commissioner said, this was a very complex and time-consuming tender, and for Surf Life Saving Queensland, this ends 3 years of working towards this tender. And in particular, over the last 12 months, we've had a team of 9 people working full-time in response to this tender. And it would be remiss of me not to thank and call out just a few of those people. Starting with Ken Clark, OAM, our General Manager of Commercial and Aviation. When I first sat down with Ken 2.5 years ago and joined Surf Life Saving, I asked him what his #1 goal was, and Ken said was securing the airborne services continuation if it was tendered for Queensland Police. Ken, huge congratulations to you and your team, and can I now say that the work begins. To Michael Carney from our board, we are a volunteer organisation, and Mike heads up our audit and finance, and this was a significant contract that took significant investment, and Mike Carney, our board member, led that through our AFCC and our board. So I just say thank you to Michael, and also to our other board member in Michael White, who played an instrumental role. To our CFO, David Nothard, who put some tireless effort in as well. Big congratulations to David. To AviPro, our consultants, first class working with them over the last 2 years. And finally, but not leastly, to our chief pilot in Paul Gibson, who put amazing work and effort into this. And of course, Paul heads up our aviation services, not only for Lifesaver Westpac Rescue, but also for POLAIR. Of course, we've been flying these skies for coming up to 50 years with Lifesaver Westpac Rescue, and more importantly for the last 10 years with POLAIR. We have 484,000 members of Lifesaving, so can I suggest to you that we have lots of police who are members of our clubs and lots of clubbies who are police. So not only have we formed a great bond and a great relationship, but we are mates, and we do strive for a lot of the same values. Queensland Police to protect and serve, Surf Life Saving to save lives. Makes for a very formidable mateship. And of course, we espouse to all of the same values: community, trust, respect, safety and mateship. So we value our partnership with police. It goes far deeper than this. Just on the weekend, we spent a formidable 48 hours together doing a search with Queensland Water Police and all of our crews, airborne and on water services, looking for unfortunately, the gentleman that was lost off our Gold Coast waters. I know in talking to those police officers and our rescue crew, both in the air and on the ground, that relationship runs deep, and it's those moments in time that really bring us together. So finally, can I just say on behalf of my board, who have had the vision to lead this, thank you for giving us the opportunity to tender. Can I say to our Premier, who is dear friends of ours, thank you so much. Also to our Treasurer, yes, for seeing the future and the vision here, and to our Police Minister, Minister Ryan, who we work very closely through emergency services. We have a massive program running there too. I would finish by saying this. I have worked with government for a long time, probably the best part of 15 years. Under Annastacia Palaszczuk, I've seen great leadership both in QFES, with Commissioner there, Greg Leach, and also with Queensland Police, with Commissioner Katarina Carroll. We have got the best teams on the ground now under this government, and we have now got a bright future together. Again, I thank government and I thank our team for the amazing work that's gone into this, and we'll take questions later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. All right, happy to take questions. Who would you like to talk? Yeah, sure. Well, we've fully funded the Queensland Police Air Wing for this. We've increased it to $53 million a year, and the lease and commercial contract will be paid out of that $53 million a year. Absolutely. Well, we've got to take the operational advice from the QPS on that. What do they think is the best assets to use? So we'll take their advice, and we've funded them accordingly.
So whilst it won't be as much, what you'll find is, and I'll actually get the experts to come and speak to this, the range is extraordinary. And we gave the operational advice, obviously, about helos in Townsville. We have a very, very busy Air Force base there and a very close commercial airport. And in fact, we had a helicopter up once and we shut down the entire entire area for a considerable period of time. We can't afford to keep doing that. It's not effective using helos in that type of environment. So it was searching with other partner agencies about a better option, and certainly we feel that the RPAS is a better option. The technology is quite extraordinary. It has infrared, it has excellent distance, it has excellent imagery. And when we get the actual product, and we'll see some of the product here, but this isn't the one that we're talking about, I think everyone will be nicely surprised what it's like, but it will dramatically enhance our capacity and our capability. Yes, so we have some 80 staff around state in this, and we certainly do have the CASA regulations that are now asked to do it, so we're ready to go. We're just looking forward to getting the product. It is a trial, and within that trial, obviously, we'll look at better ways of doing it into the future if need be, but I'm very, very confident that we actually have the technology that we need. I will call the pilot up because I think that you probably need to, our chief pilot, hear about it directly. But certainly, I've already seen some of the technology that's coming, and it is quite incredible, and it's defence graded. I mean, it is the top of the top. We're not talking about a child's, automatic RPAS. We're talking about top level technology that Defence Force uses, and it's very similar to that. So I'm looking forward to it. You might want to come up? Yes. We don't know about that yet. Definitely, not at all. We expect, be used together because they have their purpose. But what the challenge was is putting a helicopter up in a very busy part of Townsville with the Air Force base and the commercial airport there. It was actually quite frankly dangerous. So we can't keep doing that into the future. So this is really complementing each other into the future. So I would say the drones will be very busy. So not only will it be used to respond to incidents, but it will be used to proactively patrol as well, like we use helicopters at the moment. So really, a lot of our work is not just responding, it's preventing and being proactive. So I expect it to be used for both. Stolen vehicles, missing persons. The ability of the helos at the moment and ARP has is situational awareness, so that intelligence that you get when you're up, when you have the eyes in the skies, is quite phenomenal. I don't think people realise the capacity and capability it actually gives us. I expect drones that will give us that extra capacity and capability. It can be used for evidence, and we've already seen that through the helicopters at the moment, that we use the imagery for evidence. I expect that to happen into the future. The trial will give us some real insight as to, how we can better use this, but certainly not just responding. I expect it to be preventative as well as proactively in the sky, just as we use the current technology to keep, an eye on things and looking around. So we do have some restrictions, but certainly we talk closely to CASA as well as that airport to make sure that we can operate within those restrictions. But I am quite comfortable, though, that it does give us that extra capacity and capability to deal with it. But do you mind if we call the expert over, because he will give you some insight into what we already do. And I think I'd like him to talk to the technology as well, because I've already spoken to them. We're all pretty excited about what's coming. Thank you.
Thanks, ma'am. Sorry. Yep, Sergeant Mark Gamer. I'm the Chief Remote Pilot for the Queensland Police Service. So we're looking at, the type of drone we're looking at will be a multi-rotor drone. We're talking vehicle and man-portable drones. So we'll be able to package them up into a vehicle, rapidly deploy to an area, and deploy the drones to get overwatch or to participate in search and rescue operations, to gather evidence, to attend to disaster management, those kinds of issues. Yeah. Range on them, these ones are out to about 5 kilometres. However, we are permitted only to fly visual line of sight, so we must keep the drone in sight at all times. So what we do is we normally pre-plan our drone operations. We will have designated areas set up around the area of operation where we can deploy to that area, put the drone up. They will come with quite a bit of zoom capability, so even though the drone can only be used within visual line of sight, the zoom beyond that is quite incredible. No, I don't see that at all. I think it's complementary to the Queensland Government chopper and both the police helicopter as well. It's a layered approach. So I guess here at the Aviation Capability Group within the Queensland Police Service, we adopt a whole of aviation approach, and that could be from a very small man-portable drone for crash investigation all the way to police helicopters and QG Air. But certainly the capability as far as range and endurance sits more on the lower side, where we respond to the down low and dirty kind of stuff, providing situation awareness at sieges, for instance, rapid deployability to a disaster, the ability to be able to live stream that back to the State Disaster Coordination Centre here in Brisbane in the event of something like a cyclone or a major disaster. Sorry, which one? Yep. Okay. For a car chase, we don't use drones for car chases. Drones are used for static type jobs like sieges, like investigation, like intelligence operations where we may have a particular crime hotspot, say in the cases of Townsville, we can pre-deploy the drone in that hotspot and have overall observation of quite a large area of where that hotspot is, and then direct troops on the ground to where that particular problem is. That's where the benefit of drones lies. Now, the particular drones we're looking at are military spec drones. They can simultaneously lock onto up to 10 targets at a time. So it can say 5 people and 5 cars, and if the car goes mobile, we can automatically tap on that square where the car is and say that's the car we're interested in, and the camera will then slew to queue and track that car away. And from there we can provide situational awareness to troops on the ground about the direction of travel, if we were to use it for that. But specifically chasing cars beyond visual line of sight, that is beyond the capability and the legislative capability of this drone. Yeah. Correct. Well, that'll be through the normal police communications channel, so through our VKR channel. And obviously it'll be a targeted operation that we could use it for in relation to that. But predominantly, the drone is not all about just chasing cars. They bring so much more to the table in relation to investigation, in relation to missing persons, in relation to disaster management, and just situational awareness in a crime hotspot. Like the Commissioner said, to be able to get that view from high in the sky about direction of travel or an incident occurring is invaluable to the troops on the ground.
Sorry, was it for me? Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, go for it. Yeah. But and it was explained to you that it gives you incredible capability to see what's happening. So if you can actually attach to a vehicle, which will actually do, will follow the vehicle, you can deploy your resources, you can put out DTTs. This is what we don't have at the moment. So whilst it won't follow up and down like an M1 like an Hilo does, we actually don't have an M1 in Townsville, let's say. Most of the activity happens around the city. So we see this as an extraordinary advantage to be able to sit above, see an extended period of, a large area, attach itself to a person or to a vehicle, enough time to allow the troops to know where that is and obviously, carry out their response. I think it's a capacity and a capability we don't have, and it has extraordinary benefits. That is the technology for the future, and I know that's still sitting, at that ministerial level nationally. I'm certainly a big supporter of that. I think the future is all about that you can, immobilise vehicles, but certainly, and as was alluded to, this is all a layered approach. So we have RPAS, we have the Helos in the air, we have capacity and capability that we've never had before, and I honestly believe with this new capability, it certainly will provide another layer for community safety, for situational awareness. It's incredible. I mean, you've all been up in a Hilo, or you've all seen what RPAS can do. To be able to configure where your troops need to go from an evidence base and actually seeing it as it's occurring is incredibly important. And when it comes, I'm sure we'll give you all a bit of a demonstration of what it's like. We are talking about advanced defence capability RPAS. Priority in which one, the mobilise? So I know the Minister has been working very, very hard on that. If anything, I think he's one of the most proactive in that space. I can't talk about bureaucratically what happens, but certainly he was the one that started the Ministerial Council. He was the one that pushed for, technology to look at what's happening across the world. And what's happened at that layer, I can't speak of it because it involves, many other ministers and obviously the federal level as well. But certainly from a Minister's Ryan perspective, if anything, he's been the most passionate and pushed on that issue the most.
Look, what I can say is I've looked at different technologies across the world. I've met with different people. And look, it can't come quick enough for me. But what I can say with Mark Ryan, he's the one who ensured it was on the COAG agenda. This is not just an issue which is directly related to Queensland. This is a national issue that needs to be approached and it needs to be adopted accordingly. So it's on the COAG agenda, and we need to continue to work with that and push it, because Queensland, it's a jurisdiction on its own. It needs to be across the entire nation. That's how I see it, and we should be looking at other technologies. And just to the question before, I'll be honest, I've spoken with my colleagues in Townsville. Their preference is not for a police helicopter in Townsville because of the restrictions and the other issues in Townsville. So I listen to the people on the ground in Townsville and Towns, and with the resources we currently have available and with the drone technology, that is what they have asked for in Townsville. And in fact, what they did want in Townsville, and I got a commitment 3 weeks ago, could be 4 weeks ago, for a $30 million complex policing facility at 1300 Smiles Stadium. So I'm delivering, or I'm lobbying, obviously, to government for what the police on the ground want, and that's what I'm doing. It's on the COAG agenda now, so that is becoming a federal issue, and I'm continuing to pester politicians at the federal level to try and get this technology so it can be available for us in Australia. So my view, as I said, as you would have heard some years ago, is if we can shut down a car, there'll be no need for a police pursuit. If there's a stolen car, we can shut it down in its tracks. The technology is available, but as you would be aware, Queensland and New Zealand is 1% of the world car market, so it takes the manufacturers to really get involved, and I foresee into the future remote engine immobilisers will be as standard as ABS and airbags are in cars today. And as you know, some 25 years ago, they were only for the top end market, and police probably got the cars with ABS and airbags in the early 90s. So it's about moving with the times. I'm continuing to push with the Minister, but it's on the COAG agenda. Can't come quick enough for me, but I think that is where we need to look to as the future. But that will not take away the helos and the other technology, because that still has its place in other policing activities that we partake in protecting the community. It comes down to cost. There is technology available where you can monitor cars. We all know that. It happens, and it can have geo-boundaries, as it does in Europe, if a car goes past a certain location for rental cars and things like that. Technology is available, but you've got to look at the entire world car market. As you know, in Australia we don't produce cars anymore. The car market is gone. It is an issue which needs to be addressed, and we need to get the technology. But we're 1% of the car market in the world. We're a drop in the ocean, and really it's whether or not the car manufacturers see this as a priority. But that doesn't mean through Mark Ryan and COAG we cannot pursue this to make Australia a safer place. And if Australia could lead the world, that would be a great initiative, and that's where I want to get to in the future. Yes. Oh, look, you'd hope to be to where we'll be in 10 years' time. I can't tell you where we'll be. But what I will do, I'll be working with my colleagues who they talk to me on a regular basis, and if new technologies become available, I will be going to government and I'll be discussing these issues with them, because I believe as technology comes online, we should be using it. But it's hard to predict what we'll have in 10 years' time. We'll have the Olympics in 10 years' time, and I have no doubt if there is other technologies that become available, I have no doubt that the government of the day, and I will pursue with the Commissioner, will be on the same page. We will want the best technology for our police to be able to keep people safe. So, look, technology changes very quickly. It changes in 12 months. So in 10 years, that's too far for us to judge, but I'll certainly be advocating for the best available technology to be available for police regardless of what function they perform as we move into the future. It's like body-worn videos. We're moving to the third generation, tasers. We're updating our equipment continually, so it's important we do that and not just have a closed mind. And I don't think that's the way of the future. The way of the future is as technology changes, we'll change, and that is my job to work with the Commissioner and to lobby governments to ensure we get those changes to properly enable our police to do the best job they possibly can in keeping the community of Queensland safe. Thank you.